Hello. So, in this video, I want to go over a re-ranking of the Child's Play franchise. I did a ranking for this a while back ago, back when I began this channel. And I was basically going off of everything I had seen up until that point. I didn't re-watch the movies before I ranked them. I also didn't rank them in the correct order, going from, my least to most favorite. What I did say, and I stand by in that ranking, is that while not all of these movies are as good as the others, there are some that clearly outshine the others. I do want to say that I love every single one of these movies. Chucky is one of the killers who has had a continuous story going, where all the others got reboots until most recently, with the 2019 being the most recent reboot. And it's not even really a reboot because we still have the original Chucky series going on. So, without further ado, let's start ranking them. So starting off at number 7. I'm not including the original Child's Play reboot, which is a totally different type of story. I'm only going off the ones where Chucky is played by the killer Charles Lee Ray. So at number 7, I'm still going to have to put Seed of Chucky. While I do enjoy this movie, and I think it has a lot of great comedy, mostly from Chucky, it also does have quite the ridiculous storyline. And it could have been a little bit better. Also, as I get deeper into this, I'm going to have to say there is something else in this movie that I really didn't care for. So I'll dive into that when I get to a future movie in this franchise. But this one is a big reason why this is so low and why this other one has dropped so low on my list. So moving on to number 6. And at number 6, I'm going to have to put Child's Play 3. I can tell after rewatching this recently with my friend that yes, this one was a little bit rushed. It still had a lot of good comedy. Chucky looked pretty spot on to number 2's. Chucky, design-wise, but there were some jokes that just felt a little forced. And although I love Justin Whalen as Andy, again, the only thing holding this one up for me is nostalgia. Like I said, I like all these movies. These two, I still like them. But moving on to number 5, for me, is Bride of Chucky. Now, this one I believe has probably dropped on my list. And this is the one I was talking about when I was talking about Seed. And the reason why this has dropped on my list some is due to the fact that after rewatching this series, I really did not enjoy the fact that they made Tiffany such a great companion for Chucky. Like, she was right up there with his level of crazy. And, suddenly, out of nowhere, she just suddenly starts wanting to be good. She doesn't want to be a killer anymore. It's like, no. At the very beginning of this movie, you explained that she has been a psychopathic killer since she came into contact with Charles Lee Ray. And now she's just suddenly going to flip over and join the opposite team? Go good all of a sudden? That just seems weak. Like a reason just to give Chucky a villain at the last minute or an someone to on his level to combat him. There were also issues with the main two characters, which, I guess I overlooked it for a long time because I was mostly focused on Chucky and Tiffany, especially Tiffany back when she was human. Good times. But anyways, no, the main two characters, they aren't that great of main characters. They don't seem to trust each other. They're like, oh, we're gonna run away together. And it's like, you don't even trust each other. How can you say you two are in love? You don't act like two people who are in love with each other. So, moving on to number 4. At number 4, I would have to place Curse of Chucky. I liked how it was a good return to form for Don Mancini to take it away from where Seed of Chucky was and to get the fans back on board. I really like that aspect. The one thing that holds it back a little bit for me is at this point, we've had 6 movies that showcase Chucky as, already alive. And this whole thing with keeping him in the dark. Plus, I had a little bit of issues with the look. And that's the other thing, too, going real quick back to Bride, is that I was never a big fan of the whole scarred Chucky look. Although I have this doll, this is not my favorite look for Chucky. And it wasn't until recently that I actually figured out why that was. Because I looked really closely at the footage from 1, 2, 3 to Bride, Seed, where Chucky actually has hairy eyebrows, which isn't on this doll, but it's on him in the movies. He has hairy eyebrows, and the original just had, eyebrows spray painted on. If you watch Chucky get assembled at the beginning of 2, you see them spray paint the, eyebrows, the freckles on his face. And that's absent from this version of Chucky. And you cannot even, say, oh, well, it's because Tiffany added doll parts, because when she pulls his face out of that garbage bag, which are the remains from 3, you can see the hairy eyebrows on those pieces of his face. So it's not like it continues. And even in this one, it's the same cut up. I mean, at least when it goes to the cut up Chucky look, he looks a little bit more like he did in Bride, a little bit more like he did in Seed, which was more in continuity with his character. I thought there was something off about his face in the beginning of that movie. I'm like, why doesn't he look right? And then you finally get the reveal, and then, oh, okay, that's why he doesn't look right. So that's why Curse of Chucky is this low. Next up is, at number 3, is Cult of Chucky. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was nice to get, a lot of that comedy from Chucky again. I really liked the addition of he can now put his soul into multiple dolls. Although, I don't know why they left out the amulet bit, where he transfers into Nika. Because I thought the whole point of Bride and Seed, especially Bride, is that he needed that amulet to transfer back into a human. Which is what they retconned in Bride and kind of wiped away after. But with that said, I really do enjoy, and the biggest factor for me is, like I said, the return of Alex Vincent and the return of other main characters from the previous movies really sold that movie to me. So, on a nostalgic level, getting all those characters back is what brings Cult of Chucky up to number 3. Now at number 2. For number 2, I'm going to have to go with the original Child's Play. Because this is the one that started it all. It has a lot of great memorable lines. I watched this movie, and watching young Alex Vincent, I mean, everybody talks about child actors and how they're not very believable, yet I watched this recently, and all I just kept thinking the entire time I was watching this was, God, he sounds exactly like my daughter. Like, this is how my daughter talked to me. And she just passed that age recently. So, I believe that a child would really talk like this, that a child would really act like this, because my daughter talks like that. She acts like that. So, yeah, I really enjoyed a lot of it, and this was really great. But not as great as the number 1, which is Child's Play 2. And Child's Play 2, I think, is most everybody's favorite, because he comes back, and we just get Chucky straight out the gate. It has some of the best memorable lines, some of the best memorable deaths. It's not trying to retcon anything. We get the entire chant at the end, and it doesn't work on Andy. So he figures, oh, well, screw it. If I can't get into you, I'll just kill you for wasting all my time. And then he can't even do that, which is a constant running joke throughout the series, which I really enjoyed. So, all in all, I think number 2 is going to be, hands down, everyone's favorite. But I'm not going to be alone on this ranking. So let's summon my friend, Anime Senpai, and see what he thinks. Are you ready? Here we go. Ade Demela, give me the power, I beg of you. Summon!
What? What am I doing here? Chucky? Oh, great.
Time for you to do your ranking.
Time to do my ranking. Okay. I thought it was here with Barry, but I guess Chucky's there instead. So, all right. Well, I guess I'm doing my ranking of all the movies. Now, I've only seen all these movies once, so what I have to say is going to be a little, probably not very insightful. I guess that would be the best way I could put it. Now keep in mind, on this list, there's only one I really don't like at all, and there's another one I also don't like, but I like it. I respect it way more than my worst one. And the other 5, I don't hate them at all by any means, even the one that comes to number 5. But it's just number 5 on my list, and it's not my favorite. So coming in at number 7, I have Seed of Chucky. Now, I don't like Seed of Chucky at all. I pointed this out in my review thing of the movie. The thing that really brought it down for me was the opening. It took about, I think it was like 20 minutes to get to the anything involving Chucky or Tiffany. So, and I wasn't a fan of the first person camera view. I just didn't like it. The only good thing I would say is Chucky's jokes, and that's about it. Especially the one joke, you always say the joke quite often. I can't remember what it is. There was talk about joke about Glenn's parents.
Looks like this kid hit every ugly branch on the way down.
Yeah, that was
Gotta wonder what his parents look like.
That was probably one of the best parts of the movie.
No, violins. Violins are bad. Goddamn music's gonna ruin the whole country.
So, aside from that, I really didn't like the movie at all. It was just bad. Now, Child's Play 3, number 6. I should have said number 6 first, but whatever. Anyways, I have Child's Play 3 at number 6 because none of the characters are memorable. Like, heck, one was just... I was just talking about one earlier, and I already forgot his name. And I guess it just goes to show that I just didn't really care about anyone in that movie. And the whole setting was quite interesting. It was kind of weird seeing Andy suddenly quite aged up. He was, he was like in his teens?
Yeah.
And so, oh yeah, Tyler, that was his name.
Yep.
So.
Think about it. Chucky's gonna be a bro.
Well, he wasn't a bro. Now, okay, I feel like that's all I had to say about Child's Play 3. I don't really have much to say other than the whole military school was okay. I'm not sure if I buy into about all the different how they were treated, but maybe that's somewhat accurate. I don't know. Coming in at number 5, I've got Cult of Chucky. Now keep in mind, I don't really hate any of these movies or by any means from 5 going on. But, the thing with Cult of Chucky that kind of drew me out was some of the... What's the word I'm looking for? I think there was like some retconning about things. Especially since... Yeah, it was said prior to a movie... in an earlier movie that Chucky can't really put his soul in anything else after a while. But here he's done it not once but 3 different times. He's got the one disembodied head over at Andy's. And he's got the 3 bodies at the hospital or mental institute. Whatever.
Well, to be fair, in Chucky's defense, he did say he learned some additional skills online. Things that John probably didn't teach him before the first movie, so...
Okay. Fair enough. But that said, I think that this movie is still going to stand on here because I'm not a big fan of movies set in mental institutes because they're usually done bad. But this one wasn't so bad. I really like Nika, and Andy was really good. And to refresh my memory about all these movies, I realized how much Andy has not changed much over, even though it's been, 20, 30 years? Yeah, about 30 years. And he hasn't really changed all that much. The character. And probably the actor, too. So, oh, and one of my favorite bits from Cult of Chucky was the whole thing with Tiffany and Andy. Actually, the whole thing with the whole circle of like Tiffany, Andy, Nika, and Chucky, how they're all interacting was quite interesting. And the thing that really surprised me was when Chucky, I think, I'm not sure, I think this is temporary, that he is now in Nika's body. So that's going to be interesting. And, I don't know what else to say about that because it's just like the end, and I feel like it's probably going to be established more probably in a TV show that I know about that's coming out. But then again, it might not at all. I mean, do you think it's very likely? I don't think so.
Actually, we're supposed to learn a lot more about Chucky in this TV show, all the way back to his childhood.
Oh, interesting.
And based on Cult of Chucky, I think they're gonna have something with like the mother, and like I think Chucky's best influence was his mother. I really want there to be something where his mother was kind of crazy, passed the crazy down to him, got John to teach him voodoo, but she died when he was maybe like a teen, and he just kind of lived on his own since then and tried to use John as a father figure. And maybe she killed her, she killed his father when he was young or something.
Okay.
That's what I'm hoping for, but, I mean, who knows?
Well, whatever. I'm going to go on to number 4 now. Number 4, I have the original Child's Play. Now, this had a very interesting opening with Charles Lee Ray being chased by, what was the cop's name again?
Mike Norris.
By Mike Norris. And seeing the whole voodoo magic and when was the movie done again? It was like
88.
88?
That's when it was released. But it was probably filmed and shot in like 87,
probably,
86.
Yeah. That's usually how it works. So, for the time, like, that whole incantation, there we go. Words are hard sometimes. The incantation was done pretty good, especially for the time. It was definitely very theatrical too, with the whole about his threat to Norris. And then we meet Andy, and he is just I'm not sure if he would probably be like me, really, when I was at that age. But, I mean, the way he was, like, making breakfast for his mom, that was that was quite funny. He really overdid it on the butter. I thought that was... Just think about that. That's kind of funny. And when he got the whole good guy doll, he's very excited. And this is really interesting because Andy is only 6 years old, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the span of this movie, you see him as just as innocent 6-year-old, and he becomes quite hardened by the end of it. With like, this is the end, friend. I mean, coming from a 6-year-old, I mean, thank God, dang, he grew up pretty fast.
Yeah, of all the one-liners spoken by characters from movies, Andy's is pretty well up there. Probably in the top 10 one-liners of all time. And I swear, I probably I mentioned this earlier, but Andy's performance, Alex Vincent's performance, I swear, reminds me of my own daughter so much. Like the way he talked, the way he acted, that sounds and looks a lot like the way my daughter acts and talks.
I probably acted similar when I was that age, but I can't remember. It's been so long. Oh, jeez, I'm getting way too old. But yeah, Child's Play, pretty good movie. A good introduction to the franchise. But I feel like there are 3 movies in this franchise that are better since Child's Play ranks 4th on my list. So now we're going into the top 3. At number 3, I have Curse of Chucky. Now, Brad Dorf's daughter, Fiona Dorf, is pretty much a spitting image of her father. He definitely got his hair and his eyes, as far as I could tell. And I thought she was a good different. I'm not sure who would be like protagonist. I mean, I think technically, since it's a Chucky movie, she would be the antagonist, and Chucky would be the protagonist. But I mean, I'm gonna say Nika is the protagonist of this one, and I really liked her character. She was She's paralyzed from waist down, and she can get around pretty well. I did really like her determination to actually go up the stairs and try to help out her family, even though they were being like a bitch to her. And she would get off the wheelchair and go up the stairs using just her upper body strength. So, I mean, I respect that determination to get somewhere. I also like the whole bit at the end where we see a grown-up Andy. And you know what? I didn't grow up with this franchise, but I did appreciate seeing Andy grown up. Now, I missed the part where they showed Kyle in the one photo and the whole thing about the Kent school. I missed that on the first viewing, since I wasn't really sure what I was looking at the time. But then when I saw the whole picture of Andy with his mom, then I realized, oh, okay, we're back to Andy. This is Andy now, grown up. I was quite surprised. I was especially surprised that was actually the same actor who played him in Child's Play, unlike Child's Play 3, where they changed the actor.
Oh, they only did that because they released that 1 year after 2. And they didn't wait long enough for Andy to grow up.
Yeah.
But it gave Alex Vincent a nice little break.
I mean, the person that they got wasn't bad. He was actually pretty good. I actually bought in the fact that he was an older Andy.
Yeah.
But seeing Alex Vincent back. That was really cool and very unexpected. I did not expect that, but it was welcome. Now, I feel like these top two are very typical, maybe amongst the Chucky fans. I mean, I'm not a horror fan, but at number two, I've got Bride of Chucky. Now, I was kind of on the edge which one I like better with Curse of Chucky and Bride of Chucky. I wasn't really sure, but I might change my mind later on in the future. I mean, some of this might change depending on how I'm feeling. But I do like the direction that Bride of Chucky went. Seeing Tiffany be introduced was quite an interesting addition to the franchise. And I almost... The thing that's teetering it for me is Jesse and Jade. I do like those characters, but at times I feel like I enjoy Nika more. But as a whole, right now, for now, I am going to settle on Bride of Chucky being number two. Mostly because of the addition of Tiffany and seeing like the whole switch to have like an attempt to comedy, which I'm glad that this is the comedy that we saw in Seed of Chucky, because I did not like that. I did not like some of the comedy, especially with the whole Glenn and Glenda. So, and then the other thing that's really dangerously with this one, and this is why I say this really depends on my mood, is the whole end sequence at the end of Bride of Chucky. That is probably the biggest downplay of the movie I can say. And I don't know, who knows? Actually, you know what? If I can actually... I'm going to make a correction in this video. I didn't mean to do that. But I'm going to swap Curse of Chucky with Bride of Chucky. Just because of the end sequence. The end sequence kind of really threw me off. And thinking about it right now, I just got to do that right here on the spot. I didn't mean to do that. But I guess Curse of Chucky would be number 2. Bride of Chucky would be number 3. So that was my error. Like I said, I was teetering on that. Now we come to number 1. Number 1, from what I've heard, this is everyone's favorite. And I feel like this is my favorite for different reasons. And we go into Child's Play 2. Now, the reason why I like Child's Play 2 the best is the addition of Kyle. I really like her character. And at first, when she was first introduced, I was just thinking, oh, this is just some bratty teenager. But as the movie started to progress, she was winning me over. And, by the time there was like the whole exchange in the car with her and Chucky, that was like one of my favorite sequences. I'm not really sure what it was, what part of me really gravitated towards that. But I guess I like seeing a chick like this actually dealing with like a psychopathic killer right there, and just being all violent toward him with the car. And I just thought,
goddamn women drivers.
I was just thinking, God damn, this chick is just vicious, but she's
Playtime's over.
But she's badass. I really like Kyle. And then we go to the factory. We get all that stuff going on. I mean, so there was like.
God, I hate kids.
It's really hard for me to say everything that I liked. It's just, there's just so much, with like Kyle and Eddie when they were facing off with Chucky and having that whole game of survival in a factory that should be condemned as far as I'm concerned. I really think that factory. I think that's what I was trying to say in the video when I was actually talking about the movie. I think I was trying to say that whole factory should be condemned because that does not seem very safe.
Yeah. Well, that's not usually why something's condemned. Condemned means it's structurally unsafe, meaning like it's going to collapse and fall in on itself. That is probably, it should be, what you probably mean is shut down because it should be shut down due to safety hazards.
Okay,
it's too hazardous. Condemned would mean it would be like the metal structures are about to fall apart.
Okay, alright.
And it's unsafe for anybody to even enter to try to tear it down from the inside.
Yeah, so I guess that's what I mean. So that is my list. Like I said, I can't really think of what I want to say about these movies, but that's my honest thoughts about the franchise as a whole. Child's Play 2 comes out on top, followed by Curse of Chucky, that comes very on a close second, then so on.
Now, I didn't mention this in the last review we did, where we talked about Cult of Chucky, but I believe I told you a long time ago, when we reviewed Child's Play 3, to remember the blood scene at the beginning of the movie. The entire idea of there being multiple Chucky dolls was actually something Don Mancini wanted to originally do for 3, but they only had the budget for the one Chucky doll. So, Cult of Chucky kind of was Don Mancini's way of getting what he wanted with there being multiple Chucky dolls.
Well, I guess what you got. You finally got what you wanted.
Yep. And there are so many throughout this entire series. There are so many little nods and callbacks to previous movies. Or setups for future movies, because Don Mancini wanted to do one thing but couldn't at that time, so he took advantage of it later. And that blood scene with all the blood mixing in with the melting plastic. Like I said, originally there was going to be multiple Chuckies, and they couldn't do that. So they just went with the one. And, I mean, you could say that all of the good guy dolls that came out after had a tie to Chucky and made that spell possible. But this has been both our rankings or my re-ranking and his first time ranking of the Child's Play franchise. Links to his channel, Anime Senpai, will be in the description below. If you're seeing this should be airing on Halloween as a special Halloween treat for you guys. So, I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you have a safe and happy Halloween. I look forward to maybe doing this again sometime. When we started this, I said, you're not really a big horror fan.
Nope.
Has your views on horror movies maybe changed a little bit by getting into this franchise? now that you've watched the whole franchise?
Maybe a little bit. I'm still on the edge with horror because my whole stance with horror hasn't really changed. I think I did enjoy this franchise for the most part. There's only one or two movies in this franchise I did not like at all. So I think that has to do with actually getting to know Chucky himself and actually hearing Chucky speak for himself and all that. But that said, I mean, I really don't think I'm going to care about characters like Freddy or like...
Oh, if you think Chucky's funny, Freddy's way funnier.
I mean...
But Freddy Krueger is a lot more balls to the walls crazy because, you know, it's dreams. Anything can happen in your dream. You know, Chucky's based on a world where there are still logical rules of the world. Even though there's magic, there's still real world consequences. If you get shot, you're gonna get hurt.
Oh yeah, that's...
No instant heal. Freddy can get shot, cut, beheaded, and still be coming after you.
That's also another reason why I want to say, I just want to throw this in as an after fact for Seed of Chucky. Since you was just talking about that this is based in our world, another reason why I didn't not like Seed of Chucky, it wasn't not just because it was just like it was so slow at the beginning and all that stuff. It was also because of Glenn or Glenda. I'm just thinking, this is a world that is supposed to be set in our own. And,
so, the thing with the pregnancy is actually that, you know, they're supernaturally possessed. And yes, even though it is set in our world, some of those supernatural possessions and thoughts and magics, they still overlap. And that's one thing they kind of leave open-ended, you know. But if you look at the timeline, it makes sense to what they tried to do with Seed. In Seed, Jennifer Tilly was only pregnant for like 24 hours before she had the two babies. Chucky and Tiffany had sex the night before, and by that next morning, not the very next morning, the morning after, as she was dying, she gave birth to Glenn. So it actually falls right in line with Seed on how long a voodoo pregnancy would be, which is 24 hours.
yeah.
So it's that they created that rule through Bride and kept it constant in Seed. And they say, you know, Chucky was even like, hey, why is this happening so fast? And she's like, well, this isn't a normal pregnancy, dummy. You know?
No, it really wasn't. And that's one thing that really threw me off, and that's why I ranked it the way I did. I mean,
I'm not saying. I'm just explaining why. I'm just giving you the answers that, you know, were there. But yeah, this is set with some real rules, and things like Nightmare on Elm Street are just completely not. And don't worry, you know, I wasn't going to have you jump into Nightmare on Elm Street anyway. If anything, I'm really, since you've gone through a franchise where you've actually seen and gotten to know the killer, I'm actually more interested to see now you watch a franchise where you never see the killer. Where you're watching events unfold through
oh boy,
the eyes, the lens of a camera.
Okay, I know where you're going.
So, I'm going to leave this, I think we should leave this up to the audience. And I'm not saying this is going to happen soon. I'm going to try to convince him to do this as soon as we can. But at some point in the near future, I would like to do this next franchise. And I think we should leave it up to the audience.
No promises. But
And the next franchise I'm thinking of him doing, it isn't an entirely long franchise, but the Paranormal Activity movies, which has quite a big following.
yeah, there's like 3 of those.
No, there's 5.
Oh, 5.
Right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 6. Because there's the final, and then there's the marked ones. And there will be a 7th. But the 7th one's just coming out like this month or next month. And it probably won't even be on DVD or Blu-ray for a few months. So,
that's one thing.
but that's going to be a complete prequel from what I've seen. So, but the thing I'm going to leave up to the audience is if you've watched that, there's 2 ways we can have him watch this. We can have him watch this by the order it was released, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we could have him watch this in chronological order, which is 3, most of 2, 1, the rest of 2, 4, the marked ones, and then the final one.
At that point, you should just do 3, 2, then 1, because I mean...
No, because, see, the thing is 3 actually takes place in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then 2 takes place right before 1, but actually, like, right before the last 15 minutes of the movie, you get the first movie, and then you watch the first movie, and then you come back and watch the last 15 minutes of 2, and then after that, it would jump all the way to 4.
Yeah,
because,
just go 3, 2, 1, and then, whatever.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
I mean,
Well, actually, I don't know, because if you do that way, if you're doing what you say, you kind of spoil the end of 1. Whereas, if you're going to watch it in a continuous timeline, so basically, honestly, I'll tell you, if we do it this way, because you watch it like one night at a time, we would do 3 one night, we would do most of 2 another night, and then we would do 1 the next night, and that same night, since we stopped the previous one early, we'll do 1 plus the last 15 minutes of 2.
Okay.
And then you would do 4, 5, 6. Which pretty much those fall in like perfect line afterwards. They just went real crazy.
And since you talk about me watching that in that one of those 2 orders, it's kind of what I'm seeing with this Star Wars franchise. There are people on YouTube who are watching it in chronological order, and some people watching it in release order.
So comment below with how you think, should he watch the Paranormal Activities in chronological order, or should he watch it by release order? So,
I'll have a different experience.
I mean, it's either way for me. I really don't care. I just think, in chronological order, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you could just watch it by order of release, and you'll still get the same experience all the fans got anyway, so.
Yeah.
But this has been the ranking video. I hope you all enjoyed this. I want to thank Anime Senpai for joining me and watching these movies. Like I said, these are becoming really popular. I've gotten a lot of views from this, and I want to thank every viewer who's watched these. And do you have any final thoughts to say before we go?
No, I'm just working on a couple guides for my game, Final Fantasy 14, that I do. And I have got some stuff that I'm working on. it's a little bit delayed because I am debating about what I should do, how I should approach these projects. So
All right.
that's all I have.
A link to his channel will be in the description below. I want to thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you next time. Before I go, I just want to say Happy Halloween. I really hope you enjoyed this entire series where me and my friend watched and reviewed the entire Child's Play series and then ranked them. I had a lot of fun doing this. I think he had a lot of fun doing this. And it was a real pleasure to bring this to you this year. I've been saying in recent videos that I have a huge announcement for this Halloween, which I'm going to do now. And my announcement is this. Next year, I will be releasing several videos that will lead up to a huge event on October 31st, 2022. There are other channels out there that do big events for the end of the year. And I think mine is going to be something new and original that I haven't seen any other channels do. And this is going to take a lot of homework. Let's just say, if this is successful, if you all enjoy what I do next year, I'll try to make it a yearly thing. So if you enjoy Michael Myers, Chucky, Jason, Freddy, all the horror slashers, then definitely join me next year for what I'm calling the Killer Olympics. I want you all to have a safe and happy Halloween. And I know I've been putting a lot of ads in my videos for my books. If you have not, please check them out. Being this is the last day of October, or it was when I released this video, I do want to add that due to the pandemic, I will extend the paperbacks till the end of the year. But at the end of the year, I will be pulling all my short stories off of Amazon. You can still pick up the audiobooks all year round, because I can't pull those and put them back and pull those and put them back the way I can my short stories. I mainly release my short stories for the Halloween season. But next year, I will be putting all the short stories back on, and I might have one or two more new ones to go with them. So if you enjoy reading something in the horror genre, or you enjoy listening to horror audiobooks, definitely check out my most recent editions, and I will look forward to releasing better and more great short stories for next Halloween. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Have a happy, safe Halloween. Like, comment, and subscribe with your thoughts down below. Check out Anime Senpai's channel, and I will talk to you all next time.